absolutely vital to the advancement of biomedical product innovation. Hope you enjoy all your sessions. In this talk, I want to focus on 4 main points. Biotechnology industry development and its impact on the pharmaceutical industry. Second point is that this is a golden age for biomedical research and should be so for biomedical product development. Third, I would like to go quickly by the success story of SEDICO, not only as a powerful influence on the biotech industry in Egypt, but also as a leader and shaper of the profession in its current form. And last but not least is the partnership with universities and research institutes, which is a cornerstone in my presentation. When we speak about the history of biotechnology, for thousands of years, humankind has been used biotechnology in agriculture, food production, and medicine. In the late 20s and the 21st century, biotechnology has expanded to include new areas like genomics, recombinant gene technologies, applied immunology, and so on. Most probably you know better than I in this case. Modern biotechnology industry continues to evolve and change on a seemingly daily basis. There is this triad of business, technology, and culture. New wave technologies grow out of biotechnology, however, narrowed opportunities for incremental catching up and raise the barriers to entry. A lot of factors have entered in this, like low labor cost, speed of information dissemination, available risk capital, has increased the global competition for the industry. Maybe my presentation is somewhat not academic, it's based mainly on from the industrial point. We in SEDICO will continue to understand this new dynamic of increased competition, and we work to develop, foster, and expand the biotech industry development with promoting the growth. We established the access to great breakthroughs that we are going to discuss now. Possessing the first importance is the human capacity with its insights and competencies, in addition to the equipment capital to produce standardized products. Most probably you all know that the cornerstone of biotechnology is the quality control. If you don't have a strong quality control, you can never have good products. So that's why it made us in SEDICO to focus very strongly on our quality control laboratory, on the training of the people, and how they can go for good, stable products, because these are products, you know, that are very sensitive. Here I can show you a small slide which shows that our SEDICO Biotechnology Testing Laboratory has been accredited by the EJAC. This was specifically done for our first product and our most prestigious product, which is the insulin, human insulin. You can see here that in the field of determination of insulin 40 and international 100 international using high performance liquid chromatography. This is not the end of the story. We have a lot of hopes, we have a lot of interests. That's why we are starting now a project for in vitro assay and cell culture lab. You know that whenever we started the product, we had to send a lot of samples for analysis abroad, and this costs a lot of money. So, and then when we come to the stage of production of raw materials from cells, as we are going to discuss now, you will find out that such a laboratory is an essentiality. I believe that this is the first laboratory in a private company or a pharmaceutical company in Egypt. Maybe some of these laboratories, similar laboratories, are present in universities, but this is the one that we're speaking about that will be available also for other companies and maybe for research, and we have a lot of coordination with the universities, among which is the Cairo University Pharmaceutical that we are going to collaborate with. These are some of the equipment that are present in our biopharmaceutical lab: capillary electrophoresis, gel electrophoresis, isoelectric focusing IEF, ELISA reader, inverted microscope, carbon dioxide incubator with HEPA filter, laminar airflow, gel documentation system, host cell protein unit, HPLC, a couple of HPLCs, and a spectrophotometer. The aim of this laboratory is to go for in vitro assay and cell culture laboratory. This is, we have a couple of products that we have, so as to change from animal experiments. You know, a of debate is taking place all over the world regarding using animals for in vitro assay or for testing and animal rights and the blah blah. So it's fading away, I believe, all over the world. So it goes through the in vitro assay and cell culture. Two of our products are very important for us, which is the Filgras team with the GCSF, granulocyte colony stimulating factor, and erythropoietin for renal failure. And we are now, just a small synopsis here, that the erythropoietin is being added now in Egypt to the treatment of hepatitis C patients which are under interferon treatment to boost, because lots of these patients, when they get the interferon, the pegylated interferon, they suffer from anemia. So it has been adopted now that they take erythropoietin instead of taking whole blood. It's now we are doing this to stop outsourcing, as I told you. We were used to outsource this for thousands of euros and dollars, and it will be an important cornerstone for us in our near future cell production of raw materials for biotechnology. And we are under accreditation also, as I told you, for the Epitin and the Filgras team. A small synopsis about what SEDICO did in the past few years. In the few short years, SEDICO has established itself as a pioneer in the biotechnology industry in Egypt. We believe, we are confident that we are the first company to tackle this area. How did we face our challenges? We had a lot of challenges, internal challenges to external challenges. The first of the internal challenges was building strategic partnerships. We had to find partners who are confident, who are honest, that will help us to grow some of the to build up some of the expertise with our people. So it was a selection of the best partners with highest quality and reasonable covenant terms that aimed at long-term commitment in order to achieve business goals. The second challenge we met was market identification and penetration. For example, when we first decided to go through biotechnology, our first product was the human insulin. As you know, that diabetes is a very, very common problem in this part of the world, not only in Egypt but also in the Middle East. You know that we have the highest infestation of diabetes all over the world in this area of the world. So we had to look for which market should we target, plus of course as I told you, the strategic partnerships. So we were looking which market to identify and penetrate. The third was shaping the evolution of an industry, technical training of staff. We used to send, and we still send, a lot of people abroad for conferences, for training. Even we send them for long-term training abroad in order to be able to comply with all what's needed for the production and the quality control. Plus, of course, the production capacity building. We need a lot of production facilities that need to be there to be able to achieve the safe and good products. Specifically, that we need to put on the market products that are competitive with the multinationals, with the very fierce attitude of the multinationals, specifically speaking about the biotechnology, and of course, very confident products, very safe products to the people. What about the external challenges? دكتورة ممكن تبص معي على السلايد دي وتعرف هي خدت خبرة صغيرة في الحتة دي. We have some external challenges facing regulatory procedures. Unfortunately, because we were pioneers in this, we had some problems exploring and leading untapped regulatory paths for getting approvals in our Ministry of Health, including registration procedures and clinical designs, utilizing a long-term view that extends beyond legislators' usual terms of office. Up to now, we have problems with people regarding the registration of biotechnology products. They've been working all through the past years on imported products, so they rely totally on the certificate of analysis, the drug master file, and everything coming from abroad, from a multinational. They take it for granted. When it comes to an Egyptian company, there are a lot of obstacles that we meet. The second external challenge with multinational competition, as I told you, multinationals are very, I don't know if any of the multinationals are here, but they are very aggressive in their competition. The third one is building customer awareness, presenting cutting-edge science with good commercialization. And the fourth is comfort end user culture, establishing healthcare professionals and patients' trust in nationally produced or manufactured biotechnology products. When when we came to look before, and this is just a sample of what we have been doing, we are market probing of different biotechnology products, pharmaceutical group. These are different, these are IMS data regarding the past 5 years for the biggest groups of biotechnology products that are on the market in Egypt. So this is in million of Egyptian pounds. When we find out that the biggest group is the gonadotropins, the FSH, the HCG, and the HMG. The second comes the mixed insulin, specifically the insulin mix, or the mixture between the fast-acting and intermediate, I mean fast-acting and long-acting insulin, the mixed insulins, and then the erythropoietin, and then the fast-acting insulin, growth hormone, intermediate-acting insulins, colony-stimulating factors, and fibrinolytics. This is a very important slide for us when you come to reality, apart from the academic part. How can we target which product shall we go for? This is a sample of the biotechnology products that we have been acquiring, I mean the biotechnology manufacturing procedures. How did we go for this? We started acquiring confident references from Holland, Germany, Argentina, India, and China. And a lot of people will go to India and China and look at this as an inferior level, but I have to assure you that no, this is not the case. India and China are very, very, very strong in this part of the industry. And this, even the Indian pharmacopoeia is an adapted pharmacopoeia all over the world now. And you have a lot of companies, Indian and Chinese companies that are registered in the FDA. They are doing huge and tremendous. I mean, we have a guest from the United States. He would tell me, if I'm wrong, that the Indian companies, they have strong existence even in the United States market. They are all FDA approved. Most of them are FDA approved. They are one of the big companies in the world. So we acquired confident references from all these countries to transfer technology to produce the first validation batches. At that time, it was easier for us to register, not these days. So we went for registration for semi-finished bulks. What do we mean by semi-finished bulks? Means that we imported naked vials and ampoules to probe the market. We started this in 2002. It was very, very critical to go and invest and put a lot of money in a market that you do not know the response of the market. What will be the response of the market? So we started importing naked vials or ampoules, just doing the label and putting it on the market. Whenever we were confident that such a product was good enough or had a prospect or had a future, we started going into back integration to production out of imported raw materials through adopted technical assistance and supply agreements. What I mean, that we started getting the importation of naked vials. After that, we started the formulation. The formulation with the assistance of these technology suppliers. Putting of them, of course, we take from them the raw materials on exclusive basis. This is what they gain out of that. They don't do this for charity. We take from them on exclusive basis. We take from them the raw materials, and then after that we will go for the raw materials production. This is a back integration. It's a different model than any place in the world, but this is how we can do it here in Egypt in these types of markets. These are some examples of our products. The first product that we launched in December 2002 is Insulin H Mix, which is similar to the Mixtar, or if you know about that in the insulins. The second were in January 2003, just 1 month later, which is the Insulin MPH and the Insulin H by R, which is the fast-acting and the long-acting insulins. After that, we have the streptokinase, stabilized pure streptokinase, launched in February 2013. This was the golden age for us. We had the Sedidase. This is the only product, or maybe more, just one other product, local product, which is on the market now, but this is the first product and it's always been the market leader. And then came in August 2004 our erythropoietin, which is the 2000 and the 4000 international units. We are the market leader. A lot of competitors coming from abroad. Nothing of them is locally produced. Some trials have been done, but they were not very successful for locally production of erythropoietin. We are the market leaders in the institutional and the market and the private market. And then came the Sumatropine, which is the growth hormone. Strange enough, I would tell you that the consumption of Sumatropine in Egypt is very, very high, beyond your expectations, even beyond anybody's expectations for a country of 90 million. With all this consumption, it seems that we have a sort of internal problem regarding the the short stature children. Their parents are very annoyed about that, so the consumption is very high. This is good for us, but it's not the same it's not the same as in the rest of the world. The consumption is higher. Put in consideration that I want to tell you something off record, that for the growth hormone, there are a lot of off-label indications. Maybe you know about that. People are using it as an anti-aging factor in a lot of places of the world. Even there are new indications that are being on trial. For example, debilitated patients or patients with cancer, or even patients with burns, patients with anti-aging. I especially know a person in Thailand who takes growth hormone every day. And he's very potent, he's very strong, and he's doing a good life. And then it came to us that we go for recombinant human granulocyte stimulating factor, GCSF. It's launched in June 2008. Most probably you all know that it's used with cancer patients because they lose a lot of their blood parameters during chemotherapy. And then we have the FSH, launched date February 2009, one of the gonadotropins that we're speaking about. And this was the last product that we managed to launch. And since then we have started having more obstacles with the regulatory affairs in Egypt. We have under registration, but I cannot put this on a slide. We have the HCG and HMG, the under registration. We have a higher doses of erythropoietin, which is the 10,000 and 20,000 international units under registration, and some of the insulin analogs. A sample of how are we doing with the market here. If we're speaking about the erythropoietin market, it's a market of around 50 million pounds per year. This is the private market. I'm not speaking about the institutional. The private market is around 50 million pounds. If you look at SEDICO, Iputine is consuming 46% against 24% of EPREX. We're speaking about money. We're speaking about more than 4 times difference in the price of the originator from the local. So you can, by a small calculation, see how many units we sell here against these. So this, if you decrease this by 4, it will make around 6%, and this will be 46%, because there's a huge price difference. This is another sample for the Sumatropine market. We constitute 51% of a 30 million. This is 2013. This is data from 2013. 30 million pounds. We have 51% against the gonadotropin, which is 46%, and genotropin is 3%. Of course, with a 4 times price difference. We have a total domination of the streptokinase. It's not doing a lot of money. Most probably, if you know, because of the greedy doctors from the cardiology, they stop giving streptokinase now, and they go for stents to every patient. To the extent that we, in the field of physicians, we say a stent for every patient. They stop giving fibrinolytics. They go directly for stent placements, primary PTCA and stenting. When we look to the raw material production, we have the FSH from the Chinese hamstring ovary, the CHO cells, the filgrastim and the somatropine from bacterial, eputine is from the CHO cells also, sidonase from bacterial, beta-hemolytic streptococci, and insulin, you have 2 sources, either the bacteria, E. coli, or the fungus, which is the yeast. Raw materials production, we had a plan. Unfortunately, I want to tell you that we had a full plan with a lot of contracts that have been written, but this was on 2010. We were going to start with this product, although it is more difficult to start with the CHO cells. It is easier to start with the bacteria, yet because of our market probing and our decision, we went through all the procedure of producing the raw materials. We had the contracts written, we had everything, we're just going for a kickoff, and then all the circumstances that happened in Egypt made us slow down. Nobody would ever think of investing in such a long period, because we had a calculation of at least 4 to 5 years to have a product on the market, not less than that. So we had our plans to go for erythropoietin from CHO cells, Chinese hamster ovary, and then the second phase was a bacterial E. coli growth hormone, of course going through the master cell bank and the working cell bank. Most probably you know better than I from that. But what is our social responsibility in SEDICO towards the Egyptian patients? We have a campaign of unifying guidelines for diabetes control. Unfortunately, when we speak about that, we find out that a lot of patients are misconcepted. A lot of doctors, they don't have the right information about the guidelines for diabetes control. They may get some information, they don't have the correct information. So we adopted a series of events trying to unify the guidelines for diabetes control. It was sponsored by the National Institute of Diabetes, and we had this done in a lot of places. I'll just show you in a moment. Every and each one of these events constituted 4 sub-events. Unified guidelines for diabetes control. The first event is a scientific conference for the people, for the doctors, to understand what's the concept. The second was a medical convoy, and you can see the insulin of SEDICO here, a medical convoy and free treatment for the patients. The third, which is very important, is how to treat the doctors on these guidelines. This is a lecture for the doctors. And the fourth is how to treat the patients and their families of using the insulin and how to calculate, because I'm sorry to tell you that we are one of the very, very, very few countries in the world that we have the insulin in 2 concentrations, which is the 40 and 100 international unit. Everywhere in the world, they have declined the 40, but for socioeconomic reasons in Egypt, we still have the 40 and the 100. So it's a very big problem for a patient having a syringe and then trying to calibrate the 40 into the 100 or the 100 to the 40. It ends up in hypo or hyperglycemia, and this is a major problem. That's why I adopted this unifying guidelines for diabetes control. This is just a sample when we did it in Fayoum Governor, in Suez, in Port Said, in Dumyat, in Mansoura, and this was last week. A very important part of my presentation is 2 issues. The collaborative research. We comprehend research as a long-term investment for a company to generate more revenue and profits, as well as to enrich its ability to adapt to changes and the readiness for absorbing vast advances in technology. Today, in the world driven by intellectual properties, there is an increased interest collaboration in the area of research as being the activity of creating new knowledge. This is a sample of one of the papers that have been published. Efficacy and safety of Egyptian biphasic human recombinant insulin 7030, which is the mix, in diabetic patients, a prospective phase 4 study. And this is something that I believe is also new in Egypt, which is going through subchronic toxicity studies on small laboratory animals. This is a comparative 28 subchronic toxicity study of insulin Lilly against insulin SEDICO in the Swiss albino mouse and rats by subcutaneous route. It's the preclinical research. Now we come to the most important part, which in biotechnology industry academia collaboration. We strongly encourage collaborations between industry and academia as drivers for innovation, and a comprehensive initiative that purpose to set forth applied methodologies to enforce biotech industry. We want to say that SEDICO has worked on bridging the gap and enhancing synergy between the biotech academics and industry researchers and practitioners. There's a big problem in Egypt. I was discussing with a colleague now that we are working in Egypt in islands. Nobody knows what the other is doing. Nobody cares to know. Everybody's looking through a very pinpoint hole. He is looking for his business. He doesn't want to expand, to look around. There's a lot of research done which could be very, very beneficial. Of course, there are some other things which are not correct, but there should be a collaboration. This is what's happening all over the world. This is the main business of research centers in universities, specifically in the United States and Europe. They go, the industry sponsors such researches, and they have a combined contract. How can they both benefit out of that? But unfortunately, we don't have this in Egypt. We believe that this is a very important thing. We have to work together, bridging the gap, enhancing synergy between biotechnology academics and industry researchers and practitioners that result in providing the main conveyance for the most promising ideas. The biotechnology staff and students are the nuclei for growth of biotechnology industry and education in Egypt, and they greatly participate in providing the push to collaborative research and furnish academic consultations. This is a sample of collaboration with the Cairo University and SEDICO, including the AEC also, formalization and evaluation of surface functionalized liver target nanoparticles enclosing interferon for treatment of HCV. You all know that HCV, we are the highest infestation in the world. So, and it's treated now, apart from the new drugs that have been on the market and all this hassle which is taking place, so it's treated by interferon, pegylated interferon mainly. So this was something which was proposed to us, and we were very happy to work on it, to help. So the background that nanotechnology for the delivery of drugs is a novel tool. Biotechnology-derived therapeutics will eventually replace conventional drugs. So nanobiotechnology overcomes limitations of biotech drugs. The aim of this is to formulation of a nano-based target delivery system of interferon alpha-2A to replace conventional therapeutic approach for HCV. Collaboration between academia and national pharmaceutical industry. At the end, I want to tell you that there's a very famous saying which says, in the confrontation between the stream and the rock, the stream always wins, not through strength, but through persistence. SEDICO targets progressing to new researches in Egyptian healthcare field to serve for inventing a cure to the predominant national disease like hepatitis C and renal failure. Thank you very much.